Hello everyone. Today I wanted to go through the frame tool in Solid Edge. So I'm going to show you guys how to model a simple table on a steel frame. To start off, we're going to start in the assembly environment by starting a sketch on the plane. I'm going to start by defining the top size of the table in a sketch. So this sketch will drive all of the geometry for the frame that we're going to generate uh, afterwards. So I'd like my table to have an overhang of about 5 millimeters. So you can see that that will be where the frame stops, and then I offset to half of the tubing that I plan on using. I plan on using a 38 millimeter square tubing. I'll swap the other geometry over to construction because we won't be selecting that. The next step will be to be defining where the legs are going to go. So I'm going to start by defining a parallel plane. So I'm going to snap to the center line of the tubing, and then we draw two lines down, which will be the reference curve for the legs. Then I'm going to define them as being equal and then give them a dimension. I'm also going to add in a stabilizing tube at the bottom, and we're going to give that a dimension from the bottom. So make that 100 millimeters. And we say finish. So there we have what half of the table's legs will look like. The next step, we're going to go into the frame environment, select frame. Just say okay there. Now it prompts you to go into the folders where you can select the different types of tubing that you want to use. I want to use a 38 mil, which is that one. We select the chain of which we want the tubing to follow. So I'm going to select those curves, and then you can say okay. So now you can see it applies a miter joint to the corners. I don't want a miter joint. I want it to overlap with the butt. You can select the plane in which the butt is oriented by selecting these different toggles. So I want this one here where the butt will be facing up into the top. So there we have one of the legs of the table. The next step will be to mirror this around the center plane. So I'm going to get out of the frame environment, go back into the assembly environment. Then I'm going to select everything that I want to mirror. Then I'm going to assembly mirror that around the center plane to get it on the other side. It's okay. And then I'm going to go back into the frame environment, select frame, and then just select the crossbars over there. Now you will see sometimes the software will trim your bar up to an existing one, and sometimes it won't. You would need to create a plane in order to trim that bar to it. Unfortunately, the software seems to not want to select the face as being a plane when you want to trim off that interfering bit. So a workaround that I found was going into um, back into the assembly environment, creating a plane parallel to where I want to cut the geometry, and then cutting that. So I'm going to show that to you now. So we're going to go there, parallel plane. I'm going to select to reference from the center, and then I'm going to snap to the point that will define where the plane is. So there you can see is the plane that I just created. So we're going to increase the size there just to make it a bit easier to select. Okay. So next step will be to select those two crossbars in the thing, and then we're going to, it's not this menu, it's this one, edit end conditions. So you have to select your two endpoints there and the other one. Now it gives you a few options to do. We're going to go extend trim, and then I'm going to select the plane that we just created, and then it will trim it up to creating a butt joint right around. So it's a bit of a workaround, but it does seem to work quite reliably. So the last thing I want to add is a center bar running between those two bottom bars. So I'm going to create a plane parallel just to create it in the center plane. I'm going to snap to the midpoint of that edge, and we're going to go from that midpoint over there to point on there. Okay, so it's black, so it is fully defined. So, okay. Then you just go and select your frame environment again. So, and then just select the same size tubing. So you can alternate between different size tubings. I will show that in a in a little while. Uh, so obviously a table would need a top. So I'm going to save the assembly. I'm gonna name it something. Then from there, I'm gonna say create part in place. And I'm gonna select the geometry where I want to start from. Just save the part as a file. Now we are creating a part in the assembly environment. So I'm just gonna switch on the sketches that I had done previously so that everything is being driven off of those same sketches. So if you change the dimension of the first sketch size, everything will update, the top and the frame and everything that's linked to that will update to those sizes. Next, you want to extrude. Let's say select from sketch, extrude, give it a dimension. Now, this is not a constrained part. It needs to be positioned still. So I'm going to just planar align it to those. We'll keep my overhang as being 5 mm. Goes the other way. So we go -5, and then the same with that side. And there you go. There's a simple table with a steel frame. Next, I'm going to show you how to change the size of the table. So we're going to go to the original sketch, just change those dimensions. We go to 1500 there, say 2 meters over there. Say close sketch. So now the tabletop and the frame should all update. If it doesn't, you can hit Alt U. You can hit Alt U to update everything. So let me just check that all the butt joints are still all right. Okay, the next thing that you can do is you can change the tubing size if you wish. So let's say we change the tubing size of the legs. So then you go there to that little file icon and go select your profile that you would like to add. So let's go to say 50 millimeter tube. So now you'll see the tubing that we selected and the mirror will have updated. Now just be aware that some of your overlaps uh, probably will break, and some of the sketches, because you are essentially adding in different geometry. So there you can see that that plane that we created for that butt joint uh, did not remain. So we just go and re-select that, and we just fix it to the midpoint of the tubing, and then that should take care of that. So there you can see it fixed the lap joint. So you can see we're still over on the one side over there. The reason for that is the profile for the larger tubing, the center line is different. So we'll go to half of what the new tubing is. So it's 50 mil tube. So that'll go to 25. Okay. So okay, we can see it's still not fixed. So you can try hitting update or Alt U. Okay, so as you can see, the overlap there is still not right. A way to fix this would be to redefine uh, the center point of the profile that you're trying to extrude. So there you can see it's quite a bit off. So I'm going to jump into there and just reselect the center point um, back to the original. So there you can see it jumps back into place. That one there also fixed itself. So there are some, I would say, some bugs that it should automatically know to maintain the center point. It shouldn't want to flash fit the two edges flush. Um, so we can just see that all of the overhangs are the same. Next, you'll see that sketch 3 also lost some of its reference geometry, in which case we need to reselect the plane. So we just go select the parallel plane from that face to the midpoint over there. And then you need to redefine where that line is. So you can see it's showing orange, so it's lost its reference geometry. So I'm going to quickly show you a good way to just without having to delete it, is you can just um, move it from one point to another, and then you can just add in your constraints again. So I'm going to move that line from there, make sure that copies off there to there, and then I'm going to connect that endpoint to, say, that line over there, and that endpoint to that line over there. You can add in a horizontal vertical. It looks like it's still there. Last step would be to just update this profile to the new tubing size, which was the 50 square. So I just go and select that. And there you can see we have our table and all the sketches are fixed. So it does happen where geometry will lose what it's referencing from. This is not the end of the world. You can fix it, or sometimes it is easier just to delete it and start over. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask. Thank you.